Good morning and welcome to this morning's Fife Property Market Update. As always, on a Monday morning, we take a look at what was been happening within Fife last week. So this is where we use Rightmove statistics and we look at what all agencies across Fife have done with new instructed properties and changed to sold. So they've had an offer accepted. We'll then take a look at what we have done in particular as an agency last week. So what we've sold, what we have got coming soon, and what we have completed on. And then we do a run through of the shows that have taken place, just so you can see what you want to go back and potentially rewatch. Now, as always with this show, if you're a regular, you'll know the things I'm going to say, so apologies in advance. However, if you're new to the show, feel free to comment, ask any questions that are relevant, and I will absolutely come back to you. If you're not watching live, then you can still do a comment and we will come back to you. But this is a great insight into the market, and this is for week commencing the 6th to the 12th of April. So as always, we will look at the statistics for last week. So I will bring them up on the screen for you. So you should be able to see that. So this covers all the micro regions within Fife. And when I say micro regions, I mean all the different postcode areas that we cover within Fife. So you've got new instructed, so this is new properties that came to market versus sold. So they have had an offer accepted and are now sold, subject to concluded missives. And you can see straight away there what jumps out at you is there was 139 properties instructed and 139 properties sold. Not very often that we get that we have the exact same number. But obviously you can see as we go through the micro regions where we have the highs and the lows, but it is great to see that the same number of properties instructed are sold as well. So straight away you can see Cooper, there was 14 instructed versus 11 properties sold. So if you have a property to sell within the Cooper area, you can see that there is slight activity picking up. Normally it isn't quite double digits, it normally floats about the 8 or 9. So it is picking up within the Cooper area. So as we have been saying week on, week out now, if you are looking to sell your property, you need to think about going to market sooner rather than later, because the numbers are only going to pick up as more and more people are waiting for the spring, summer months to go to market. And we always tend to say when there's more competition and more properties available, you do tend to get less for your property, because if somebody misses out on yours, they'll just move on to the next one. So that is the Cooper. Then we move to the East Snooks. There were 7 properties instructed versus 10 properties sold, which is slightly higher numbers for the East Snook. It normally averages anything around 5 to 7. So slightly higher numbers in the East Snook. St Andrews, not very much in it, with 10 versus 9. Again, slightly higher numbers for St Andrews, but it is good to see because there is a lot of stock that we need to work our way through within the St Andrews KY16 postcode. And when you think, though, I was actually speaking to a client about this last week, is when you think that the KY16 postcode, yes, it's St Andrews, but it goes as far as Strathkinnis, Balmillow, so it is quite a wide radius. So for only 9 properties to sell in that week, when that covers all price points, all property types, and that is from the centre of St Andrews and that whole KY16 radius, which, as I say, goes as far as Lucas, Guard Bridge, Balmillow. It's a big area. So if you think an average is around 8 or 9 properties selling each week, with how much stock is on the market within St Andrews, there is average selling time could be anything from 5 to 6 months. You do get the anomalies, obviously, where it is jumped on and the property is snapped up. But average is, we would say, your 5 to 6 months. So just bear that in mind if you do have a property selling in St Andrews, or if you are also on the market as well. Just bear that in mind, that it is a patience game and you just need to have patience. And as long as you are confident that your property is out there being advertised to its best light, so the promotion is key, the photography is key, the price point is key. You need to make sure you are hitting all those factors and you will secure your buyer. You just need to have patience. But as long as you're comfortable and you're happy with your listing, then that's the main thing. Obviously, if you want to chat with an agent perhaps about your current listing, if there's any pointers we can give, this is anything that we think it would benefit from, then we're more than happy to help. It's what we're here for at the end of the day. But just bear in mind that you do have a slightly longer selling time within the St Andrews catchment. Levenmouth, a lot of activity taking place. So you had 23 properties instructed within Leven, which is, I think, the highest number I have seen in a very long time for Levenmouth. And then 11 properties sold. Levenmouth, it is still a strong market. There is a lot of activity happening, and of course I'll say it week on, week out, but it is the investment that was put into the area. and it is the potential that it gave people for commuting to your bigger cities, and we can continue to see that. But 23 is a higher number. We've got a lot of activity coming in the Levermouth area, so if you are looking for a property in the KY8 postcode, then certainly make sure you're following our Leven page, because Perry has some brilliant properties coming up, so you don't want to miss out on them. Dunfermline, 44 versus 63. So 63 is a higher number than we're used to seeing for Dunfermline. Dunfermline is always the highest performing, or the most volume, I would say, out of all the micro regions within Fife. It always is. It normally does average around your 44 to kind of 48 for instructed, but 63 for sold is a high number. And if you bear in mind, this is core market only, so this is only resale homes. This is not anything, or not a reflection on new builds. But that gives you an idea, but it is slightly higher for the Dunfermline area to have 63 properties sold, but they do have a lot of stock to work through, so it is great to see that they are obviously getting through them. Glenrothes, 16 versus 9. Now 9 is quite low for Glenrothes, showing as sold. They're normally into double figures. So there was obviously something in the water last week, but we do always say 1 week doesn't make a trend, and bear that in mind. And that's why we continue to do these weekly shows, so you can start to see a bit of a pattern. And then also we do the monthly roundup as well, so that gives you a great insight. And then Kirkcaldy, you're 25 versus 26. So much the same, nothing in it. That is a strong number for Kirkcaldy, and again, this is just the this is just the core homes only, not a reflection of the new builds. But that is your breakdown of your 139 versus 139. Now your new builds, then, just to touch on, there was 4 new builds sold in the Dunfermline area. So also, if you add them onto the 63 that was sold, that is really high activity for your Dunfermline area last week. There was no new builds sold in the St Andrews area. There was none in Glenrothes, and there was 1 in Kirkcaldy. So slightly lower activity on the new builds last week than what we normally do see. But that is the statistics for Rightmove, all agencies right across Fife. But they will take a look at what we were doing as an agency last week. So this is where we look at properties that we accepted offers on, properties that we have got coming soon, and then properties that have completed. So they have gone through the conveyancing stage, and they are now being enjoyed by the new owners. So the first lot that we'll do is the solds. So as always, we will bring up the poster for you to see which property I am referencing. So this is the first one. So this was John Street in Sellardyke. Now this was an absolutely immaculate, this is one of my favorite properties to date, because it was beautifully presented. It was ready to go. It was just stunning. All of the interiors, the layout was amazing. You've got garden space at the rear. And something will always say, if you had smell-o-vision, that would have been the house that you would have wanted in, because it always smelled beautiful as well. It really did trigger all the senses. And what was great about this one is there was the potential to negotiate the furnishings inside, because they had done the interior beautifully. So this was a 4-bedroom terrace townhouse. It had a gorgeous open plan living, kitchen, dining space. It had this big log burner as well. It was just perfect. But my favorite room in the property was certainly the main master room, because it had exposed beams, it had loads of windows, so it was lovely and bright, solid wood flooring. It was just a beautiful property. And of course, it is a stone's throw from the open water tidal pool, the harbour, the Fife coastal path, so it's a brilliant location as well. So the new owners are certainly lucky with this property. And they're looking forward to moving into their new home. And as I say, it's ready to go. All they need to do is put their personal effects in, and it's just perfect. Now, this one was on the market for offers over 340,000. Now, those that are regulars to the show will know that I can't disclose what they went for. So I can't disclose the offer that's been accepted, because it's now going through the conveyancing stage and misses need to be signed. However, just keep a lookout for the shows, or keep a lookout on our activity, and then once it's gone through that stage, we'll then be able to disclose what the property achieved and what we negotiated. Now, the second one that we accepted an offer in, different area, different style of property, but this was a Levenmouth property, and this was Wagon Road. It was a popular property. We had to do an open house on this one, so that just tells you the activity that we were getting, and brilliant result to see it sold in 2 weeks. Now, this was a bedroom, this was a ground floor apartment, and it was great because obviously it gives you that one level living element, Great opportunity to go in there and add value and really put your stamp on it. Plus you can see all of the external space that you're getting with this property. Obviously driveway, garden ground, so it's brilliant to get an apartment and all the outdoor space. Know that you're going to add value as soon as you step into it. And of course it's Wagon Road, so it is walking distance to all of your amenities, being the high street, the bus station, the train station, the leisure facilities, the beach, the Fife Coastal Path. It really does have everything on your doorstep and a brilliant property. And we do have people that missed out on this one. So this one was on for offers over 82,000. Again, I can't disclose what it went for. However, if you have a property like this that you're looking to sell, or even look to get valued with maybe in the near future sell, pick up the phone, reach out to us. We can get Perry out to value your property, discuss your next steps and what your journey looks like. Is there anything we can help with? And then let us get these results, like getting your property over the line within 2 weeks, which is brilliant. So that is what we accepted offers on. So the next is the activity that we have got coming soon. So this is properties that myself and Perry have been out to value and are going to be coming to market with us. So we're just going through the marketing stage and we're going to be doing the pre-portals. Now, those that aren't aware of what a pre-portal is, if you're perhaps new to Fife Properties, that is our unique selling point. We are a multimedia agency, we are digital, and you get a full video walkthrough of a property before it goes to the wider market. So your Rightmove, your Zoopla, and your S1 Homes. Now, this particular pre-portal, as I say, it's a preview of the property, and the only way to see it is to follow our social media pages. So wherever you're looking to purchase a property, you need to follow the relevant Facebook page, whether it be you're looking to purchase within the KY8 area, the KY10, your KY16, you need to be following the relevant Facebook page. If you're open to all of Fife, then just make sure you're following all of our pages, because we have one for each of the micro regions. And that is where we put the pre-portals before we go to the wider market. So you'll see the words pre-portal, you see the agent's face, you'll see the property in the background, and that is your full video walkthrough. It's almost like a virtual viewing. You're seeing every single detail and feature. Then at the very end, we discuss the location with you and also the price point that the property is looking to come to market at. But that is your key opportunity when you see a pre-portal. If it ticks your boxes, you can get in there before anybody else. So you need to be a cash buyer and ready to make an offer. And that offer is your no regrets offer to secure that property and get in there before anybody else. So that is what kind of triggers you getting in at pre-portal stage. If you're sitting here and you're thinking, well, maybe I have a property to sell or I'm not a cash buyer, that's okay. We can still put you on the marketing list and get you through the door once the property goes live. So please still reach out to us and we'll obviously get you registered, get you qualified and get you matched against the property. So don't be put off if you aren't quite at that stage. But if you are, then this is your key opportunity and you need to act fast when you see a pre-portal because you do not want to miss out. So do make sure you're going and following all the pages and keep a lookout for the pre-portals. If you have any questions on that, or if you want to obviously discuss it further, then come in the comments or pick up the phone and speak with us. Or if you prefer to be a wee bit more private, then give us a message instead. But let's just crack on with what we have got coming soon. So the first one is in Cellar Dyke, and this is Sue Wester Court. Now, I was out to this property and it is going to be a brilliant family home for anybody. It is a great footprint. It's a 3-bedroom linked detached. You're getting a driveway, you're getting garage. You're in a prime position within this area because you are right on the corner. So you're getting an extra bit of grounds at the side, which actually gives you potential if you wish to extend your property. Some of the neighbouring properties have kind of altered theirs and done extensions in however they've been able to configure it. But you have the potential to go out to the side, which is brilliant. Now, it is going to be a potential to add value once. You're going to be able to go in there, put your own stamp on it, really make it your own and know that you're adding value. But what you're actually getting is the footprint of the property and the location as well, because if you were to do an extension at the side, you're then going to get completely uninterrupted panoramic views right across the Firth of Forth, which is just incredible. So the potential with this property is not to be missed, but it is a desirable location. So that one, I am doing the pre-portal for tomorrow morning, so you don't have to wait long for this one. So go to the eSnook page and you'll be able to watch the full video walkthrough kind of tomorrow lunchtime, so you don't have to wait long. Next property got coming to market is in Den of Lindores. So this is on the outskirts of Cooper, as if you're heading to kind of Newborough and heading along to get to Perth direction. So it's completely village lifestyle. You're getting all your amenities either in Newborough or back in Cooper, but it is a fantastic family home and it's recently renovated. So it is beautifully presented. Now it's a 5-bedroom detached property. You've got a large driveway. You could easily get 5 or 6 vehicles on it. And then you've got a garden to the rear that you don't realise standing out the front how much space you're actually getting with this property. So you've got an amazing garden space, ample off-street parking, and then this beautiful, it's a period property, so there is still original features, but internally they've got recently renovated bathrooms, a stunning kitchen, and so much space with this property. So it is going to be an ideal home and perfect if you do have maybe wee ones that are at Newborough Primary or maybe Dunbog or even in Cooper for Belbaxter High School. It's going to be a perfect home, or even if you need to commute along the M90. So that one, I believe I am doing the pre-portal for by the end of the week. So that one's on Thursday, so you don't have to wait long for that one either. Make sure you're following the Cooper page for that one. Then we have Main Street, West Weems, and Perry is going to be doing the pre-portal for this one. So again, you don't have to wait long. So make sure you are following the Kirkcaldy page. This is going to be a 2-bedroom terrace property, ideal location because you can still commute whether you want to come into Leaven, whether you want to go Kirkcaldy. So you've still got plenty on your doorstep, and it's going to be a fantastic home. And as I say, you don't have to wait long for this one, as I believe you are getting the pre-portal on Wednesday. So yes, not long to wait at all. So the next one we have then, or the final one I should say, is Fernlea Drive in Windygates. Now this is a brilliant family home if you are looking for your next family home. Again, you want to have all your amenities on your doorstep. Also, if you need to be commuting, you obviously have the Cameron Bridge train station. 4-bedroom detached. So it's going to be a popular one if you are looking for a family home. And this one is Perry's going to be doing this next Monday. So make sure you go ahead and follow our Leaven page and keep a lookout for that one. In the meantime, while you're waiting for these pre-portals, make sure you do call the office and get yourself registered. Speak with an agent, get all your details on the system. We can then get you qualified and we can get you matched with properties. So do that in the meantime also. So that is what we've got coming soon. If you have any questions on them, put them in the comments, but just keep a lookout and act fast when you see it. Now we have completed. We've got quite a lot of completed, so I hope you're sitting comfortably. So this is properties that have gone through the entire conveyancing stage. Misses have been signed and the new owners are enjoying the property. So we'll just do a run through. If you hear any of these and you have a property similar and you are looking to sell or you're looking to get results like these, pick up the phone. Let's get an agent out to you. We can discuss your accurate valuation and discuss your next step and see what your journey looks like. But I'm going to do a run through. So the first one is Sockenbush Road in Kirkcaldy. So this one was a 5-bedroom detached property, beautifully presented, prime position because you were tucked right at the end of a cul-de-sac, no through road. You were getting a really large plot, driveway, garage, beautiful landscape garden at the rear, and an immaculate home. So that was a 5-bedroom detached. The new owners are, of course, delighted to be moving to the area. And Kirkcaldy's great as well because it's got everything you could possibly need, whether it be commuting options, whether it be schooling options, whether it be leisure facilities, whether it be shopping facilities. You have everything you could possibly need. And this one sold for 400,000. Moving to a different location, we have Wellesley Road in Buckhaven. This is a 2-bedroom ground floor apartment and it sold for 82,500. Now, what's great about this one is we sold the entire building. So there was 2 lower apartments and then an upper apartment, and the sellers they owned the top floor and the 2 lower, and we were able to sell them all for them. And they also purchased from as well. So we managed the whole chain, kept it all really neat, stress-free, hassle-free, and that's the final one now over the line. And what's great is the new owners are looking forward to moving to the area, everything on their doorstep again, which is great. And that property is a fantastic one because it was an old bank previously, so the features in it were really unique. Hopefully they keep them because it helps tell a story. Different location. Now this is more of a village setting. So this was Kirkwynd in Strathmiglo, and this one was a 4-bedroom detached property. Again, beautifully presented, sitting in a prime position. And the new owners are absolutely delighted to be moving into the area. You're getting a village lifestyle, still getting all your amenities, but you're getting views of the Lomond Hills, which is just perfect. And this one sold for 425,000. So it's great to see we are completing and achieving in different areas, different property types, different price points. Next one, again, different areas. So this was 42 Main Street in Milton of Balgony. And I believe Perry has another one up her sleeve in Milton Balgony. So if you missed out on this one, or if that's an area you're looking to be in, keep a lookout because I'm sure Perry has got one up her sleeve. This one was a 2-bedroom end terrace cottage. Again, it was on a great plot because actually standing out the front, you didn't realise how much you were getting at the rear, but it had a beautiful landscape garden. And this one sold for 215,000. And of course, Milton Balgony, you're getting that village lifestyle, but again, you can do commuting to Leven, Glenrothes, Kirkcaldy, Markinch for the train station, back to Leven for the train station at Cameron Bridge. So everything again on your doorstep, village lifestyle, and a beautiful cottage as well. Back to the Kirkcaldy area, you had High Street Kirkcaldy. So this one was a first floor commercial premises, but it actually had planning permission to be converted, so you could actually have it as a full residency property. And what was great about this one is you were right on the high street, but where you're positioned on the high street, you had kind of uninterrupted views right across the Firth of Forth and right along the prom. So it was a perfect position. Going in there, you know that you're going to add instant value. It sold for 80,000, but there was already planning in place to do the conversion. And it's going to be a really spacious, you could make a really luxurious upper apartment with that one. So the owners are delighted to take on that project, know obviously what they're going to achieve out of it, while obviously benefiting from the area as well. Our final completed was back in Strathmiglo, actually, so another village setting, and this was West Road in Strathmiglo. Now, this sold for 272,000, and it was a 3-bedroom detached property. What was great about this one is it had 1-level living. It had a large plot, so it actually had more like a wraparound garden. You had plenty of workshop space, you had a driveway, garden to the rear, and as I say, 1-level living, and there was also potential to go in there and add value. And at the front, you weren't overlooked because you were directly opposite a playing field as well. So it was a brilliant location property, and the new owners are looking forward to moving into the area, getting to enjoy their new home and the setting that they get as well, and the lifestyle that they get with the property. So that is what we completed on. I did say we had quite a few. So that is the activity that was taking place within Fife Properties last week. Now, before we let you get on with the rest of your week, we're going to discuss the shows that have taken place so you know what you want to go back and re-watch. Now, as always, it's a Monday, which means 12:30 you have Jim Parker, one of the UK's most successful property investors, and Richard Cook on hand discussing the Wealth Creation Show. So it's 12:30 every Monday. Watch it live, but if you don't get time, then you can do the rerun. And again, just like this show, feel free to put any comments and we will come back to you. But this is time to take stock. So the topic is, do you ever take the time to go have a look at the stock taking of things in your life? Sometimes, no matter how organized we are, things can potentially overwhelm us, and taking stock is what's needed to get back to a sense of normality as quickly as possible. Usually we will stray off course due to something out of our control taking up our time more than it usually would. Perhaps a family emergency or a illness or a holiday or just something unexpected. And something like that can simply lose track for a few weeks as life does get busier. But we can't stick to our usual routines for a while. Whatever the reason, it can be really difficult to get back on track. So you do have Richard Cook and Jim Parker. They're on hand to discuss. There'll be some great hints and tips. And obviously, if you've got any hints and tips, feel free to contribute as well. But that is the Wealth Creation Show. Then there was a show done by, you had Richard Cook, again, the lettings director, and Karen Marshall, one of our letting agents, on hand discussing landlord budgeting and how much rent should you save each year. So finding the sweet spot between saving for a rainy day and actually enjoying your rental income is every landlord's dream for a peaceful and profitable life. Maintenance and repairs both come with the territory of owning a rental property, but a smart approach can really protect your property, maintain that healthy cash flow, and even create happy tenants. But how much should you actually realistically set aside a year, and what should you perhaps be setting it aside for? So you have Richard and Karen on hand discussing that. Again, there'll be brilliant hints and tips. And likewise, if you're a landlord and you've got suggestions, feel free to put them. Or even if you aren't a landlord and you maybe just have some great budgeting advice, also feel free to contribute that as well. And then the final show is one that myself and Perry did last week. So the previous week you'd have had the Dundee version with Jim. However, last week myself and Perry did the Fife version, and this was the 34.22 million Fife Bank mum of dad in 2025. And we discussed, and obviously it's one of those topics where there is really split kind of views and opinions, and there's really no right or wrong, and there's just split views. So we were discussing whether it being a blessing or a barrier, because in the past year alone, Fife parents gifted a staggering 34.22 million to help their children get onto the property ladder. But we were discussing whether the generosity, is it propping up a system or is it actually highlighting its flaws? With the average first-time buyer in Fife having nearly half of their deposit from their family, or as you'd say, bank of mum and dad, is it shaping the future of home ownership in Fife? Whether you're a parent, whether you're a buyer, or you're just curious about what it means for the Fife property market, then we were on hand discussing that. So go back and watch that also. But that is the shows that's taking place. That is what we have happening as an agency. And that's what was happening across Rightmove, across all of Fife. So if you do have any questions, put them in the comments. Likewise, message us privately or even pick up the phone. That is what we're here for. But have an amazing rest of the week and we will see you throughout. All the best. Take care.